Hi again. We're reaching that stage in the school year now where we would be expecting to break up for the Easter holidays. Now, I don't know whether that thought fills you with trepidation or normally the holidays are a happy time for you and your family. But of course, this year everything's going to be different. Schools are going to remain open partially over the Easter holidays to take care of children of key workers and those children who've been categorised in this kind of nebulous vulnerable category. And many of you whose children are at home will continue to have your children at home with you. Now, I don't know what you normally do during the Easter holidays. If your children normally go to family or to a childminding service or to holiday clubs, all of that is, of course, gone. If your children are normally at home with you, this might not feel like such a big change. And you may be thinking, well, let's carry on with our Easter holiday as usual. But of course, some of the things you normally would rely on to get you through the holidays, going out and about on day trips and taking exercise outdoors and going to visit people on play dates and visiting relatives and even going away on a holiday, all that's now not available to us. So we have stretched in front of us a 2-week period of time, maybe a little bit more or less for some of you, where you can't do Easter holiday as you normally do it. The work that is being sent home from school is likely to slow down or perhaps stop at this time. And you're faced with trying to work out what you're going to do with these next 2 weeks, only 2 weeks after you moved into this new situation of home learning with your children while the schools are closed because of COVID-19. So I thought it would be good to think about that as we get ready for that time. I sensed among some people on social media that they're really looking forward to the Easter break because no more home learning. So they're hoping to drop the worksheets and the things that are sent from school and abandon all of that and have the stress and the pressure of that taken away. And I really completely understand that. So what I'm going to say now might not be very welcome to hear for some of you. In our home educating family, we don't really pay that much attention to school holidays. They don't have an awful lot of relevance for us, except that the places we like to visit usually get more crowded during those times, so we might not go as much. We won't be doing that this Easter, obviously. But for us, what we find is when we've got established a lovely routine around our home learning, and then if we just take 2 weeks off it, then we find it really hard to re-establish that routine again when the 2 weeks are up. Because in home learning, in home education, you don't have these start and end points of the school term to frame your year. So for children who go to school, we know that the holidays are over because you have to get up in the morning, you have to put your uniform back on or whatever, you're sorting out your packed lunch, you're getting your book bags ready, and you actually have to be at school for a certain time. And it's a clear marking between what is holiday time and what is learning time and going to school time. With children at home now, there isn't that clear marking. There isn't a clear event that signifies the end of learning time and the beginning of the Easter holidays. And then when that time is over, there won't be a clear event that signifies the end of the Easter holidays and a return to learning. So you might need to be prepared that if you do decide to have 2 weeks of downtime during Easter and relax your schedules entirely and just do family things and really not think about structure, learning, all of that, which is completely understandable. But you might need to be prepared that when you come back to that, after the Easter holiday break is over, when school starts sending work and expectations are higher, that the routine that you've been working hard to establish over the past 2 weeks, you've really got to work to re-establish that again, and that might be a challenge that you're not that keen to face depending on how it's been going for you. So if you think that might be the situation, I might suggest that with younger children who don't really know whether it's the holidays or not, you might just want to try to keep a very similar routine going for the next 2 weeks of the Easter break as you have had going for the last 2 weeks. You don't need to focus on lots and lots of work and learning, but if you still continue to structure your day in a really predictable way, and you do that throughout the Easter break and then continue in the same way after the Easter break is over, even if the kinds of activities that you do in those times are different, you can reintroduce the more learning type activities and the school-based activities after Easter. And hopefully your children won't notice too much of a difference, won't feel that their routine's been too much disrupted. Now, with older children, that's a completely different matter. And for some of you, the very thought of expecting your older children to establish and stick to some kind of routine over what they know is supposed to be their holidays is completely unthinkable. And if that's the situation you're in, fair enough. It may be for some of you that your older children can be encouraged to do a little bit every day. So if the school's been sending lots of work and it's been quite a lot of pressure and you've not been able to keep up with that work, it's possible that you could spread some of that out over the Easter holidays if your children are willing. What I would say about this though is, if this is going to cause a huge amount of upset in your house, let's not jeopardise our mental health and well-being over this. The purpose of it would only be to ensure that the routines that you've begun to establish in these last 2 weeks don't fall apart over the next 2 weeks and then prove more difficult to establish once Easter is over. Because for the first week or so of this, there's been some novelty value of it. Some children have perhaps enjoyed doing little school at home and the dynamics of that. Others have enjoyed a break from a school experience which is kind of anxiety filled and difficult for them. But by the time we'll have gone through 4 weeks of being all at home together, the novelty will definitely have worn off if it hasn't already. And you'll be in a situation of trying to expect your children to return to working, return to learning, looking again at the schoolwork that's being sent with children that are perhaps even less cooperative than they have been previously. So I would really recommend that you sit down with your children, talk about this, talk about how you're going to manage the next 2 weeks. If your children are older and you can't sort of con them into thinking that the holidays don't really exist, then have a conversation with them about the implications of stopping everything, of stopping all the work, of just really taking each day as it comes for 2 weeks, and then how you would plan as a family to re-establish the routines and re-establish the learning patterns that you've begun to put together when that time is done. It may be that after Easter you need to accept that you'll be building up to it again, that you will not be able to start in with the same level of energy as you might have been putting into it in these last few days, that 2 weeks further on down the line you will all be more tired and you will all be more reluctant to continue on this journey. And so to have a plan in place for that, a plan that your child is on board with, might save you encountering some difficulties further down the line. So have a think about Easter. It's a great time for craft activities. There are loads of craft activities around spring and Easter. If you want to do something with your younger children particularly that fills up some time in the day and is a worthwhile activity but doesn't feel as much like learning, it isn't actually schoolwork, then Easter crafts and Easter activities can be a great way to do that if you've got the materials at home. But I hope that you have a decent Easter break. I hope it's as good as it can be for you, and I hope that most of all you're able to keep your family safe and you're able to keep your family well-being under control, and that you all survive the Easter break. Bye.